G'day guys, Matt from Bigger Boys Toys here.
G'day, Josh from Bigger Boys Toys here.
And today we're here to talk about pumps and pump selection and what's best suited for your application. Okay guys, the first thing you need to understand is how a pump works and the restrictions involved around a pump. The biggest restriction in any pump is head. And when we talk about head, we don't talk about head as in a long way, we talk about vertical. So if you're going to send a pump up 500 meters up into the air, you've got pretty much no chance of finding a pump unless you have absolutely massive amounts of power to push that water. If you're running 500 meters along the ground, that's a different story because you're not pushing the water up in the air. So the first thing you need to understand is the type of pumps and what they do. A pump with twin impellers will push pressure, and that involves high pressure, fire pumps, sprinklers and that kind of stuff. If you're just moving water from one position to another, that's called volume, and you need a pump that pushes volume. That's generally the bigger gauge pumps, 3-4 inch, but they will not do head. So they're generally good for running along the ground or a couple of meters up head, but they're not good for firefighting, pushing water up hills and that sort of thing. Okay guys, the first thing we'll do today is talk about pressure head. What that involves is pushing water uphill. Now to get an idea of sort of pressures you need versus the sort of head you need is for every 10 meters you've got to go vertical. Now keep in mind that's not along the ground, that's going up a hill. So for every 10 vertical meters is equivalent to what they call 1 atmosphere, 101.4 kPa or about 15 psi, about 14.7 I think it is to be exact. So for every 10 meters you've got to climb up, you need 15 psi or 100 kPa, that's always easy to work out, of pressure to push that water up there. So if you've got to go 30 meters up, you're going to need about 300 kPa or 45 psi to get there. And when you get there, that's not going to have that sort of pressure. So if you choose a 60 psi pump and you need to go 30 meters, taking away friction loss, you're going to be looking around 15 psi at the end of that line. That's just the way it works. Okay guys, so when it comes to pumps, there's two types to choose from. There's diesel and petrol. What application you use is going to determine which one best suits you. Diesel is good for firefighting for the general reason of it's got a low ignition point. Diesel does not ignite like petrol does. So if you're in a situation where it can be a bit hairy and so forth, you're going to want diesel because it's a lot safer when it comes to the fuel and refueling and that sort of thing as compared to petrol. If you're a farmer and that's all you run, you just run diesel pumps, you're going to want diesel because you've got your tractor, you've got your car, and you don't want to be important and carrying two fuels. Risk cross-contamination. There's been many times people have put petrol in diesel and vice versa, diesel in petrol. So that really comes down to where and the application you're going to use it for. If you're just generally at home and so forth and you were on fringes of a bush and you wanted something just to keep you safe and feel a bit secure, the petrol would probably be the go. If you're in the bush and you run diesel all the time, I would say diesel. But as a general preference for firefighting, diesel would be my choice. Another thing to consider is weight as well. Diesel's heavy, petrol's a little lighter. So if you've got to move your pump around and you don't like heavy weights or you're a bit how you're going on heavy weights, go the petrol as well. Okay guys, today we're going to talk about which pump you need in regards to pressure or transfer. If you're moving water from one dam to another or you're just filling up tanks around your property's pretty flat, you'd go transfer. You're going to move the water quicker, less fuel, and it's going to get what you need done pretty quick. If you need to push it uphill, and I'm talking up to 30, 40, 50, even 60 meters, you need to go to a lower volume pump but a higher pressure. And that's where your twin impellers come in, your fire pumps, those kind of things. If you're going transfer, the cast iron pump range that we've got is very good for that. And also the Gusher 3-inch and 4-inch, they move large volumes of water. On a flat ground, they can move up to 100,000 litres an hour. This pump, on the other hand, on a flat ground, is only good for about 30,000 litres an hour. This will push up to 70 metres high. Vertical lift, remove the vertical lift, where the transfer pump would generally pick up about 30 metres, and still then I would still say at 30 metres you're not going to get the volume. This will push out a lot more than that 4-inch pump.